So, hi guys, and welcome back to my page. It's your girl A the Poet, and we're back with another video for the Poetry and Me series. So today we're joined by Tafadwza. So she's just gonna introduce herself.
Hi guys, my name is Tafadwza Mavindide. I'm 21 years old, and I'm currently a law student and a part-time writer and poet at the same time.
Lovely. So happy to have you here today. So tell me a bit more about your writing journey. How did you begin to write, and how did you begin to write poems? When was your first poem?
I think so. My first poem was probably grade 3, grade 4.
Yeah.
Um, I got introduced into like reading very early,
Mm-hmm.
so I've always been a bit of a bookworm, and that's where I think my love for like poetry and writing grew. So
Yeah.
I remember like especially because I think grade 4 is when you start like learning some like poetry in school and stuff,
Yeah.
and that was my first introduction to the idea of rhyme scheme and all
Yeah.
of these things. And like when
Yeah.
I look back at the poems I wrote, there's those cute little like care bear care type of
Yeah. I'm with you.
yeah, that was probably my first introduction to poetry.
Mhm.
And then throughout high school, I think I stopped writing for a bit throughout high school. But I did more public speaking, more debate.
Mhm.
But like writing properly definitely started in university. I think that's when I came back to writing and like why it was important to me and
Yeah.
how much I loved it and how like I think this is now the point where I can say okay, I'm writing now. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's probably how it started.
Ah,
Yeah.
lovely. And I know you mentioned public speaking. So tell us a bit more about that. So what kind of public speaking did you are you doing? What did you do?
We used to have a debate and public speaking club at school,
Mm-hmm.
and basically have competitions within the district and then provincially and then nationally.
Ooh.
And so that is as much writing as I would do because public speaking meant you'd have to write your own speech,
Mm-hmm.
and you'd write your own speech and you'd practice it, and that's as much of writing as I think I did in high school. And I think that also helped with the whole idea of like spoken word and reciting and performing because
Mm-hmm.
I spent a lot of my high school on stage debating and
Yeah.
public speaking and giving speeches and presenting. So that sort of tied into the type of poet I think I am today.
Mm-hmm.
That whole thing of expression and being expressive of my art.
Yes, I love to hear it. So I know you have a blog, it's Poetry Connect. So tell us more about that. So how did you go from public speaking to then writing a blog?
Okay, so um, I started like I realized like one thing I think I've picked up about my writing is
Mm-hmm.
it's always based on experiences.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like it's activism or so it's normally things that I'm feeling at a specific point in time. So I
Mm-hmm.
started Poetry Connect because I wanted to like join like my poetry
Mm-hmm.
and like the ability to just speak on issues that I found were important. So I'd write a poem about something, and then before I'd publish the poem, I'd talk a little about what it was about and
Yeah.
why it was important to me and how it affected me
Mm-hmm.
and why I thought it was like important.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I've realized now I've moved more into actual poetry videos. So
Okay.
my page Grow Poetry on Instagram has a lot more of like because I felt like okay, I enjoyed writing, but I didn't feel like it allowed me the expression that I wanted in my work and my poetry.
Yeah.
And this year I told myself I want to put myself out there. I want to push my work. I want to start connecting with other poets. I want to actually, stop writing for me and my 5 friends, basically. And so I think I've moved from Poetry Connect, and most of my work I now try and actually make it visual. And obviously the limitations, it's COVID, we're not really going anywhere, but trying my best to incorporate my want and love for expressing myself with my love for the writing that I do.
I love it.
Yeah.
So you mentioned you have a poem to share today. So it'll be great if we could hear that poem. What inspired what inspired this poem, and what is it called? What is it called?
So this particular poem is called The Examination Room.
Okay.
Um, there's been a number of deaths in and around people I've known and friends and family in the past couple of years. And it's a very short poem, but I wrote it in the wake of the death of someone I knew, and it just speaks to the realization that with each person that leaves, you remember that life is short and time is fleeting, basically.
That's true. Yeah.
And we must try as much as we can to treasure the little time that we have on earth, because some of these people were people who were younger than me, older than me, people in my stream, and it was scary because it felt like if someone my age could die today, tomorrow
Yeah.
it really and truly me. So it's a very short piece, but it just speaks to that idea of the importance of loving the people we have now and living in the now. So I'm just gonna recite it.
Yes, please. Yeah, yes, please.
Okay. The older I get, the more I write about death. As if death has creeped up on me like a forgotten assignment now glaring right at me. It's due, and I panic. I panic at the constant reminder of her existence plastered across my life in posters. As others rush around to tend to her victims, I am lifeless too. Death kills 1,000 birds with one stone and takes one body but 1,000 souls. That is the downfall of love, that a piece of ourselves must die a little with each extinction. I have sworn till death do us part to all who I have experienced. And as they slowly leave the examination room of life, I look up from my paper in confusion. Time is not yet up, but they are done. They have poured their all onto their answer sheets, and now they have handed in their life's work. A part of me feels a loss because they never really got to write the stories till the last minute, to the time that God had said it was time up and we should put our pens down. The examination hall is getting emptier, so I frantically rush to spill it all on my page. I frantically write love letters to my friends and write off the depth of bitterness to my inflictors. Life is too short to do anything but love. Yeah, that's what.
Oh my God. Oh my goodness, that was so good. Yeah, I tried not to. I really tried. I really tried to hold it back, but that was that was so beautiful. And I think you just captured it in such a nice way. Like, wow, that was a very, very powerful poem. Oh,
Thank you so much.
no, thank you so
Thank
much
you
for
so
sharing that. That was a really, really beautiful poem. I think, especially with grief, it's it's that line where you said, death is it kills 1,000 souls in one body. Oh, that was a really beautiful poem. So yeah, I've spoken about poetry and grief on my page recently, so I think it ties in really nicely on how therapeutic poetry can be. Do you find that poetry is a great way for you to kind of process what's going on?
Yeah, most definitely. I think especially last year, I realized with a lot of things happened last year, and I realized with everything happening that I needed to start developing healthy coping mechanisms.
Yeah.
And writing had always been something that I'd loved and I'd enjoyed, but it was a hobby. It was something I liked to do. When in my first year in university, I was part of a group of poets, Christian poets, and we used to perform here and there. And
Yeah.
yeah, it was all nice and well, but I fast realized that I needed to start using it to cope with a lot of things that were happening last year.
Yeah.
So it became very therapeutic for me. It became a place I would go to write when things really began to happen, and yeah, a lot happened last year, and I really turned to my writing and my poetry. And
Yeah.
at first it was most definitely just for me
Mm-hmm.
and like my consumption and my healing, but I would find that sometimes in certain pieces that I would recite or share, people would feel connected to them. So people would feel like, oh my gosh, that's such a beautiful piece, that I connected to that. I felt that really spoke to me, and that kind of, yeah, it kind of gave me the urge to continue to write, not only for myself and my own like therapy,
Yeah.
but for other people,
Definitely.
other
I
people's therapy and
definitely
healing.
I definitely connected to that, and it's definitely
Yeah.
brought me some kind of healing that I didn't know I needed today, but I definitely just received a little bit of healing. So thank you so much for sharing
Sorry.
that. No, don't worry about it. So the last question I have for you, I've been asking all of my guests, if you could spend a day with someone, anyone, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
Wow. um wow, I've never thought about that. If I could spend a day, um funny funny enough, I don't know why like he's come to mind, but I think I would like to spend a day with my late grandfather.
Yeah.
um he I think he died at a very, well, no, I wasn't very young, but I think I must have been like 12, 13. And I think everything I've ever known or heard about him is things that, or that I remember is things that people have said. And
Yeah.
there's so many questions I actually have for him about, his life and the way he did things and just him in general. Just like, I feel like I have a fascination, especially with people who are gone, not in a creepy way,
Yeah.
but I felt that there's so much I've always wanted to ask that I never do say or ask, and
Mhm.
when they leave, it kind of feels like I never got that opportunity.
Yeah.
So I think, like, yeah, I think he would definitely be one of the people I'd like to spend the day with. Yeah,
Oh, that's
yeah.
beautiful. No, yeah,
I
I
never thought
definitely.
about that, but I think that yeah,
So say that again.
yeah.
You've never thought about it.
I never actually thought about it, but like in the moment right now after you've asked, I think he's the one person I have a lot of questions for, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely
Yeah.
understand. But thank you so much for joining us today. I've definitely appreciated it. And I think a lot of people that are watching this can take so much away from it, especially with that really strong poem. So let us know where we can find you, your social media, so your Twitter, your Instagram, your blog.
Okay. So you guys can find me on Instagram at it's a femicide. That's my main account. And then Grow Poetry is my poetry page. You can also find me on Twitter at it's a femicide as well. And my blog page, so poetryconnect.blog. Yeah, that's where you
Definitely.
guys can find me.
I'll have
Yeah.
all of that information in the description bar, so everybody can find you. Everybody, please go and follow and like all of her content. I think your poems are honestly just spot on in a breath of fresh air. So I
Thank
think a lot of people are
you.
definitely going to enjoy your poems. So that's everything for today. Thank you guys for watching. Feel free to like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to follow Tafadwza on all of her socials.
Thank you.